Good morning. My name is Bulj Dwayhi, and I'm here to present our project, ZGHARTA House. First, I would like to say that I'm really humbled for being selected. First, because it's our really first built project, and because it's my house. To start describing it, let me put it in its geographical context. The house is located in the outskirts of ZGHARTA. It's a town in North Lebanon, surrounded by olive groves. It expanded around a linear urban spine, sitting between two rivers that join to form the Abu Ali River that goes to the nearby city of Tripoli. But the project's immediate context are simply olive groves, a road, and a nearby hill. The site slopes gently towards the road and has unobstructed views of the landscape, of the hill, and of the neighboring mountains. Here is the view of the opposing hill that faces the site directly. With this as context, the main drive was not to create an interesting object in the field, but rather to engage a certain geographical architecture that relates to the immediate, but also to the larger geography. Geography as architecture offers new opportunities for discourse, expanding from the traditional notions of context, program, and form to the fluctuating parameters of network, performance, and autonomous environments. We think of geography as an alternative way of thinking about architectural things, other than what could be called autonomous objects, here presented by the chapel in the field by Peter Zumthor, or environmentalism, expressed here by this a house is not a home diagram. Geographical architecture takes inspiration from the different relationships between the ecological, urban, cultural networks in shaping its small-scale environment. When geography becomes architecture, it takes the role of a catalyst. So instead of just taking the position of integration or denial to an existing context, it actively manipulates its external environmental and experiential conditions. So, in our quest to create this geographical architecture, three themes guided our approach to ZGHARTA House. The first was horizontality. In the context of ZGHARTA, horizontality was the most prominent feature of the landscape and of the agricultural plain. So we took this horizontality, the main feature, and emphasizes it in the massing of the house through a series of horizontal contours. These contour lines will overlap to gradually insert the house in the landscape. The first contour line is the existing topography, expressed here by the road itself in front of the house. The second line is created by the retaining wall, which is also the fence. It starts by following the slope, then folds up to create a horizontal level to receive the house. This third contour line is a stone wall that creates the lower level. And the fourth line is the floating roof of the upper level. The second theme is the stone wall. Such man-made artifacts are omnipresent in this agricultural plain. They are also a common feature found across the Mediterranean, whether a property fence or retaining wall or even a house. These stone walls were a key element that reshaped the landscape. So we were interested in exploring the architectural possibilities of the stone wall by first engaging to the view of the opposing hill, but also and especially to disengage from the proximity of the nearby road and by possible neighbors that could pop up around the project. So if you take a section of the land, of the site, we start seeing the different walls that shaped the project. The first wall, which is the fence, creates behind it the first level of the house. The second wall creates the lower level behind it. The third creates the base of the higher level and the backbone of the lower level. And the fourth wall supports the floating roof of the upper level. So from the street, the house looks like a series of walls that fade into the ground, inscribing it in its topography and giving it proximity from the road, privacy from the road. The third theme, courtyard meets topography. Historically, courtyards were recurrent design elements in the Mediterranean architecture. From the Roman domus to the Levantine houses, they were used to create a microclimate in the extreme days of summer and winter. Culturally, they were devices that mediated privacy with outdoor living. Also, they created experiences of access, where a simple door in a blind wall opens up to an internal garden. The wall separates and filters the relationship between what is out and what is in. In our case, the courtyard, which is a flat typology, here will meet the topography. The topography will be adjusted to split into two horizontal levels, creating the first level, the lower one, which is a bar, that will host the bedrooms, bathrooms, and storage area in the back, and the higher level, which will have the reception area. The two levels are then extruded. One is a bar and the other is an L, to create the third space, which is the courtyard. An outdoor courtyard, which allows the landscape to slide into the house. Then a U-shaped stone wall wraps diagonally around the two floors, creating an intense outer edge and porous interiors. You can see in the lower level, the patios created bring inner daylight to the inner garden that inundates the bedrooms and bathrooms, here and here. And on the upper floor, these patios become the entrance porch of the house. This is a main view of the courtyard from the living room. You can see the distant mountains of Mount Lebanon and the Cedars. This is a view of the entrance. You can see the courtyard through the entrance glass. The same patio seen from the courtyard. The bathroom patios. This is the master bedroom. It opens up to the private garden. Also, it has a small patio on the right. This is an exploded exo showing the different elements that create the house. In contrast to the outer edge, interiors are fully glazed, opening up to the private garden and to the distant views. The southwest orientation, that is also luckily the view, has helped us achieve an optimal environmental performance in terms of passive cooling for the summer, while benefiting from the optimum sun in the winter. So the glazed roof, the glazed first floor receives the sun in full during the winter, as you can see, while in summer it is protected by a 3-meter cantilevering roof, which is the floating roof. On the other hand, in the lower level, it is well insulated by a garden roof, by the stone wall, and by a retaining wall in the back. So we have two different relationships with the outside, between the lower level and the upper level. The several sections through the house, transversal sections, show the different relationships between the levels. This is a section in the courtyard. It shows very clearly the cross ventilation that happens in each level through the openings, the lower openings and the upper back openings. This is a section that showing the connection between the two levels through the stairs. This is a section showing the difference of level that created an upper terrace on the roof of the lower level. You can see in the image 3 levels, the lower level as seen from the stairs, the higher one, which is the terrace, and then the view in the back. This is the master plan. It shows very clearly that I have positioned the house on one side of the land to separate the vehicular passage, which is the public space, from the rest of the plot, which is all private gardens. It also shows the roof, which is a 300-meter square roof that we used for rain harvesting. It was interesting because the house was occupied only for 9 months, and it was enough to actually have domestic water for 6 months because we had an underground basement tank of 60 meter cube. So it was interesting to do it. Underneath the reception area, a storage space and the water tank. The storage space links the service entrance, which is the parking entrance, through the storage space, up through service stairs to the kitchen above. The bedrooms are, of course, serviced by a corridor, which is also a storage space. It has a linear closet. This is the plan of the first floor. It's an open plan and has a kitchen on the north corner. The materials used in the project were mostly local. The fence comes from local riverside stones. The house stones are sandstones recuperated from old buildings. The interior floor is concrete, which is also a local product. The outdoor terraces are in basalt, Syrian basalt. This is a view from the west, showing the thick wall edge that separates the private gardens and private spaces of the house from the neighbors. And this is a night view that shows how the nature goes into the house through different levels. And I end with this general dusk view that shows the contrast between the thick edge and the transparent interiors. Thank you.